Hey, hello. This is a reading wrap-up. The first 3 books I'll go over quickly because I read through them in a reading blog and I kind of went into detail, but I'll still go through. The first one was Pride and Prejudice. It's a enemies to lovers romance novel set in like the 1800s. Everyone kind of knows what this is. I read it because I had seen the movie, but I hadn't read the book, and so I read the book and I love it and I gave it 5 stars. It's definitely a favorite now and I will probably reread it in the coming years. I had to recheck out the book, but it's all the same. The next book is Carrie. I read this in October. I enjoyed it. I gave it 4 stars. It's about a teenage girl who has telekinetic powers and she goes to prom and things go very bad. And it's a book by Stephen King. But yeah, I enjoyed it. Same scenario. I had already seen the movie, but I hadn't read the book, so I wanted to read the book. I'm just weird like that. The next book is The Dirt. Similar scenario. I had seen the documentary on Netflix and I wanted to see how different the biography was, so I read it. That's the best way to find out. I enjoyed it. It's very similar to the movie, but with a lot more details and kind of overlapping timelines because all of the band members give their take. Yeah, pretty good. 4 stars. The next book might be my favorite book of the year, and it's House on the Cerulean Sea. I don't have the physical copy because I originally checked it out from the library, but I still have the ebook. This is such a cute novel. A book about found family and about orphans with special abilities. This is heartwarming and comforting and so cute, and there's even like a cute romance in it. I read it in November, so it was kind of the perfect, it's like a hug in a book. I loved it. The kids all have like magical abilities and there's one particular, it's cute. I loved it. I haven't explained what it's about. The book is about a social services worker, but it's specific to these magical kids and they live in this orphanage. He's sent up there to see if the orphanage needs to be shut down or not. So he goes, but while he's there he meets the kids and he interacts with them and he learns about their abilities and he gets them to open up and talk to him, and he has like a safari adventure where it's like make-believe, and it was just cute. You get to learn about all the different kids and you end up loving all the different kids and their like special magical abilities. I know one of them is like a gnome, the other one is like an amorphous blob. It's written really well and it's wholesome. I don't know, I loved it. And my favorite character was Chauncey. I think the narrator did a fantastic job in kind of conveying what he would sound like. And I thought that was super adorable. And I don't really like kids, but these kids were really cute. It was my favorite book and I gave it 5 stars. And I'm definitely gonna reread it because why would you not want to reread that? So yeah. The next book is a nonfiction book. It's called Refuse to Choose by Barbara Sher. This is a fantastic book. She explains how there's some people who just sometimes don't have one passion, but have several passions. And sometimes they're not simultaneous, sometimes they're reoccurring, and it really just depends. And she calls these people scanners, where we have several different ideas and we want to follow through on all those ideas, but then we kind of lose steam. I gained a lot from this book. It gave me permission to just explore all those different ideas. This year has kind of been weird for me on a personal level. Just kind of, I have passions, but I have too many sometimes, and I don't know how to filter through them. It's weird to say, but it's nice to get permission to just explore all those different passions and know that it's not just me, it's several people. I did tab it up because I thought it was really useful. Maybe I'll go more in depth with the book since there's several different like tips that she goes through where she explains maybe you should have a scanner book, which is like a daily little notebook that you write your ideas. She also goes through the different types of scanners where sometimes we have oscillating ideas. There's a lot more to this book, and I feel like I would like to go further into detail with that because I think it's a really valuable book and I think others could maybe learn from it. But yeah, I gave it 4 stars. The next book I picked up because there was a movie release that was going to happen and I wanted to read the book before the movie came out, and that book is called Bones and All. I saw the trailer with Timothée Chalamet and I really wanted to watch that movie. I still do, but I wanted to read the book before I did what I've done with these other books. So I read it and it's okay. I think it's middle grade or just for a younger audience. So the main character, Marin, she speaks very monotone and like she doesn't feel anything, and it's kind of jarring, but it makes sense. If you don't know what it's about a girl named Marin and she has this weird ability to eat people just in entirety. She eats people. And it starts off with her mom leaving and her trying to maybe reconnect or find her father because, I mean, she's like 14 or something, and so she wants to find her father, and maybe he's kind of like her. And so the story is interesting, but the way it's told was not. I think the premise was not well executed, and I'm hoping the movie is very different. I still haven't seen the movie, but yeah, she meets Lee, which is supposed to be Timothy Chalamet, I'm guessing, and then she stumbles onto this older guy who is also like her, but he only eats people that have passed. The book doesn't tell you why they are how they are, they just exist. And I didn't care for an explanation. I think it's very interesting that they exist in general. I think the fault was that I expected a romance, and it's not a romance. They are just two teenagers who kind of find each other at a store. She kind of hitches a ride with him. Yeah, I don't know. I was disappointed with it, and I wish I wasn't. I went in with expectations, and I guess I shouldn't have, and that was a fault on me. But it was still a pretty decent story, so I give it 3 stars. I hope the movie is better, though. The next book I read was nonfiction, and it's a book called How to Keep House While Drowning by Casey Davis. If the name sounds familiar, it's because she has several TikToks about cleaning and various methods and such. And so the book is kind of like her TikToks, except in the book she kind of goes into why we delay these tasks, and we internalize them when we shouldn't, and we put morals into cleaning tasks when we shouldn't. And I think it comes from the stem of like cleanliness is close to godliness. So when people think like that, they tend to make cleaning a moral task when it's not. And I don't know why it became that. That saying probably has something to do with it. But then when we don't do those tasks, we feel like we're a bad person, and we internalize that. And she kind of goes into all that ordeal, and I think it was really good. She coins the phrase of calling them care tasks instead. It's not a good or bad, it's a task that you just kind of want to care for yourself. And she goes into like tips, yeah, but she goes more into the psychological aspect of why we delay those tasks, because no one wants to do them, honestly. And if you can outsource it, you obviously will, but sometimes it's good to know what you can and can't, and why you internalize it, or why you tend to treat it that way. And it was really good, so I gave it 4 stars. Yeah. And then the last book I read is In a Holidays. I felt like reading a Christmas themed book. In honesty, I wanted to read a Christmas book that wasn't so romantic, since I wasn't really in the mood, but I figured why not. It's small enough to finish in December, which I did, and I enjoyed it. It's exactly what you expect in a romance novel. It's fluffy, it's comforting, it's holiday-y. If you don't know what it's about a woman. She's like 20 something. She has just finished her holiday at a cabin where her family and extended family celebrate together, and it's like once a year they spend Christmas in this cabin, and they have a jolly old time. Except this year she made a mistake, so she pleads to the universe to wish she could take it back or change things, and the universe responds and lets her redo it. It's like Groundhog Day, except she goes couple days back, up to like December 20th, because they're there for a couple days, and whenever she makes a mistake, she goes back some days, or wherever she failed. It's a cute premise, and I think it was executed pretty good. There's nothing groundbreaking. It's a Christmas story. It's fun. It's a group of wealthy individuals who don't have problems, and it's just a Christmas story, and that's all it is. It's a romance novel. There's nothing groundbreaking. You get what you expect, and sometimes that's nice, and that's what I wanted, and so I'm satisfied. So I gave it 5 stars. And these are all the books that I read this quarter. I think I read some really fantastic books, and I hope you pick some of these up, because some of them are really fantastic. That's all for now. Merry Christmas and Happy New Year.